Bright Duty. Every student matters.
So coming to discuss with Kheda district, what happened to this to the peasants of this Kheda, which is a place in Gujarat. A district is located in Gujarat. After this, the Ahmedabad mill strike, when it got over, a new struggle began, which put into operation of Satyagraha. This has also happened during the 1918. After this, the Ahmedabad mill workers, the problem will be settled down with that the 30% increase in their wages. Gandhiji, along with his group, reached to Kheda district, where the peasants, they were trying to organize their movement against the British colonial rule of that. Due to that, the crop failure, they were not in such a position to pay off the tax. So what happened in the Kheda district of Gujarat? The crops failed. This is about that the crop failure and famine conditions threatened the people. Famine-like situation was there because of that the failure of the monsoon in the 2 to 3 consecutive years. So many cultivators were unable to pay the tax. Gandhiji came to their aid. Gandhiji came here to help them out from this problem with this misery of their lives. Gandhiji came to their aid. He drafted a petition and asked for the suspension of revenue collection. So that this was the demand of the peasants, exemption or reduction of the taxes. But the government not ready to the reduction. Then Gandhiji started Satyagraha. Government was not ready to give any type of the exemption or the reduction of the revenue. So finally what Gandhiji did, he has written a petition to the government about that, the suspension of the revenue collection, but government rejected. Gandhiji advised the sufferers and their sympathizers not to pay taxes. They should not sell their land and they should not have to put them in the condition, in the ruined condition. So this way the Gandhiji insisted the farmers, the peasants, not to pay off the taxes to the government. News of this struggle that spread all over India. The people sent money to Gandhiji to help the fight. Now, from the other parts of the country, now the people, they have started sending their economic support to Gandhiji. Time passed and the peasants began to lose their nerve under the threat of that the officials at the sight of their cattle and goods being seized, and it was started selling by the government officials. They have started this seizing of the cattle. They are taking away their cattle from the peasants. So this way, the peasants, they have now lose their heart in that, their faith in that the Gandhiji's agitation. Gandhiji said that something urgent had to be done. So what he suggested to some of his followers that they should remove the crops themselves from a field that has been attacked by the government. He knew that it would be followed by arrest. Gandhiji was knowing about that. The moment they will start taking this action, they have to be, the British government will follow them with the arrest warrant only. But all were ready to face the consequences. But they were all ready about this incident. They were arrested and given short term of punishment. Fortunately, the struggle ended soon and the agreed compromise. The British government was signed an agreement with that. A compromise agreement was done by the Britishers. So the Kheda struggle was a great step in the awakening of the masses of India to a sense of their rights and their own ability. Now this way, the ability of the people, the rights of the people, now they were started getting this awareness about all such things and getting their demands accepted by the British government. So this way now the people, they have started getting their awareness about their rights and they have to put up their demands in front of the government, and they knew about their ability how to demand for any of the things from the government. If they are organized themselves in a proper manner, they can demand and the government has to agree or to accept the demand of the people. The same thing happened over here also. When Gandhiji advised the peasants to non-payment of the taxes, still the demand accepted by the government. But finally, what happened with the hesitation of the people when they agreed? Happily, they have started giving their arrest to the Britishers. Then finally, British government came to a compromise and they accepted the demand of the peasants of Khera district, and the government accepted the demands and Gandhiji suspended his satyagraha in Khera district. Then the most important event, which is started by Gandhiji as a protest against the Rowlatt Act, which has been passed by the British government in the year 1919. What was it actually? We are coming to discuss. And now onwards with this, the Champaran movement was the first step, second step, first successful step was Champaran, second followed by Ahmedabad mill worker, third was about the Khera district. Now we are coming to that were organized in a small places. Now this protest is organized throughout the country. So during the Great War of 1914 and 18, this is also known as the First World War. The British had instituted censorship of the press and permitted detention without trial for 2 years. This is all about that the Britishers which was imposed during the First World War. Now the recommendation of a committee chaired by Sir Sidney Rowlatt. These tough measures were continued. In response, Gandhiji called for a countrywide campaign against the Rowlatt Act throughout the country. Earlier, Gandhiji started with the small places, organized the peasants, organized the mill workers. Now, countrywide, he has started campaign against this the repressive measure of which is known as the Rowlatt Act, which was imposed by government during the British government during the First World War. In towns across North and West India, life came to a standstill as shops shut down. Everywhere, the shops were shut down, schools were closed. In response to the Bandh was been called, Hartal was been, strike was been called by Gandhiji. The protests were particularly intense in the Punjab, where many men had served on British side in the war, expecting to be rewarded for their service. This is the expectation of that the Punjab people, who they were involved in the war front, went on the war front under the British flagship. But what the reward has been given by the Britishers, they have imposed Rowlatt Act. So instead that they were given Rowlatt Act, they were not given any of the reward, but they have been given this Rowlatt Act. Gandhiji was detained while proceeding to the Punjab, even as prominent local congressmen were arrested. Hesitation against Rowlatt Act. This is the picture of Sir Sidney Rowlatt. The Rowlatt Act was received with great discontent. The people, they did not agree to accept by every section of Indian public opinion. Consequently, the national leaders started an intense agitation throughout the country against this Rowlatt Act, and this agitation brought to the force of the nationalist movement a new leader with a new technique, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. With this agitation, a new leader has emerged in our country. What is the new leader and what was his technique? Already we have discussed the technique about his non-violence and truth were the weapons. So this was a new technique of this new leader. And what was his name? His name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He had attracted attention to the successful application of Satyagraha against the policy of social discrimination in British South Africa. Already he is having experience about that, the British atrocities, what he has already experienced, the social discrimination, policy of social discrimination on the land of South Africa. On his return from South Africa in 1915, he took up the reins of Indian national movement in his hands, and he was then only 45 years of age. In April 1917, he had a successful movement which put to an end the miserable sufferings of the peasants of Champaran in North Bihar, who were being exploited by the Indian planters. Mahatma Gandhi declared 6 April 1919 as Satyagraha Day, a day of Hartal. This was the first day when throughout the country, countrywide this was experienced by the people. They have supported this this Hartal, this strike organized by Mahatma Gandhi, and which has been declared as Satyagraha Day, a day of Hartals and protest against the Rowlatt Act. This strike was organized actually all against the policy of Rowlatt Act, and it was a unique success, and very successfully this Hartal, this strike was organized throughout the country. Very important incident. This is a very inhuman incident took place in the Indian history. Jallianwala Bagh massacre, April 1990. 13 April 1990. The most serious disturbance took place at Amritsar where three prominent Englishmen got killed. This is actually the incident happened. Three Englishmen, prominent Englishmen got killed by the English. So what happened? The governor of Punjab, apprehending a general revolt, issued a proclamation on April 11, which forbade meetings and processes. Now the people, they cannot organize the public meetings, and the processes were completely banned. Stopped. This is the order given by the British government under the governor of Punjab. The government also arrested two prominent Congress leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlew and Dr. Satyapal. On April 13, Vaisakhi Day, about 20,000 people, they assembled for a peaceful general meeting at Jallianwala Bagh to protest against the arrest of their leader. But this meeting was organized by the people of Punjab at Jallianwala Bagh to protest against the arrest of the leader. So this is about that. What it is actually a large number of people. Coming to the next slide. The situation in the province grew progressively more intense, reaching a bloody climax in Amritsar in April 1990 when a British brigadier ordered his troops to open a fire on nationalist meetings. When the meeting was in progress, the order was given by a British brigadier to open fire upon them. Near about 20,000 people were gathered in that fire. More than 400 people were killed and nearly 1,200 were wounded. This tragedy is known as the Jallianwala Bagh. This tragedy is only where the 400 people were killed and they have not given any warning, and nearly 1,200 people they were wounded in this massacre. A wave of horror and anger swept the country from one end to another. The great poet Rabindranath Tagore, he surrendered his title as Measure of Protest. This is about that the first surrender of the title was done by Dr. Rabindranath Tagore after this Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Gandhiji lost his faith in professions of goodwill of the British government. Now he understood about that the British is not going to do anything good for the Indians. After the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, martial law was imposed in the whole of the Punjab. Martial law means that the suspension of that the civil rights or whatever the rights related to our day-to-day activities, all were suspended and martial law was imposed. This was all about that the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, how it happened, and this tragedy was actually brought a very deep imprint on the Indian history. This tragedy and the detention of Motilal. This is after that what happened in this. Rabindranath Tagore, he has surrendered his title of Sir. Gandhiji lost his faith in the profession and goodwill of the British government. After the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, Motilal Nehru was imposed in the whole of the Punjab. Public floggings were, martial law was imposed. This is after Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, martial law was imposed in the whole of Punjab. Public floggings were not infrequent and excesses were perpetrated against the people. The Jallianwala Bagh tragedy and the declaration of martial law thereafter widened the gulf between the government and the national leaders. The people were not frightened into submission. On the contrary, their determination to fight against the alien rule became very stronger. The Britishers, they imposed the martial law. The people, they were not frightened with this all such that the suppressive measures imposed by the Britishers. But the determination of the Indians to fight against the alien rule became very stronger. So this was the message came after that. The message, and this was the feeling of the Indians after that when they experienced the Jallianwala massacre. Next it comes about that Khilafat agitation. Just one after another. This is the after the First World War. When it was over, the Allies decided to disband the office of the Caliph or the Khilafat. Office of the Caliph means that the First World War, already the war is there between the two groups. This Allied group, the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. The Central Powers were defeated by the Allied Powers. In that, the Ottoman Turkey was also been defeated. And who they have been, after this defeat, the religious spiritual head of their country was the Khilafat, which has been declared or disbanded by the Allied countries. So same thing is written over here. The First World War, Allies decided to disband, was done for the office. This was the religious institution of the Muslims, and which was disbanded by the Allied forces. This enraged the Muslims, who considered this action as an insult to their religious beliefs. This Caliph was the religious head of the Islam religion, which was disbanded. This disband was considered Muslims as their insult. The Muslims of India started a powerful political religious movement known as Khilafat movement. In our country, it is known as the Khilafat movement. Its leaders, Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Muhammad Shaukat Ali. These were the two brothers, also known as Ali brothers. They plunged themselves heart and soul into the movement, and Muslim theologians also lent their support to them. Khilafat movement procession, thus the success of the agitation was further assured by the large measure of sympathy and support which Mahatma Gandhi gave to it. Now Mahatma Gandhi also tried to unite the country, no differentiation between the Hindus and the Muslims. So he also has started giving his full support to this movement, and this is the success of the agitation was further assured by the large measures of sympathy and support which Mahatma Gandhi has given this religious community, which was this Khilafat movement organized by Ali brothers. Then Mahatma Gandhi also saw why Mahatma Gandhi has given his support and sympathy to this Ali brothers or to the Khilafat movement. Because of that, Mahatma Gandhi saw in it the opportunity to establish cordial relations between the Muslims and the Hindus. This led to an alliance between the Congress and the Muslim League. Mahatma Gandhi was soon recognized as the leader of the Hindus as well as the Muslims. And this is the All India Khilafat Committee under the leadership of Maulana Azad in May 1920 adopted the non-cooperation movement to fight against the British. And Gandhiji was the first to plunge into the movement, and he surrendered the title Kaisar-e-Hind, which had been given to him by the British government earlier for his services during the war. Wherever the war word is being used, this means the First World War. Then it comes about that opposition to council entry. This is also one of the incidents which is in continuation with this. Council entry means that at that time the Government of India Act was there, which was supposed to organize the elections. So Gandhiji opposed the contest of election to the general election to be held in India under the Government of India Act 1990. Why this general election was been opposed by Gandhiji? He did not want any congressman to enter the legislature established by the British government, law-making body, which is the part of the British government. So the Gandhiji, he has insisted the congressmen not to participate in this council elections, not to enter in the British council, because law-making body should be elected by the Indians and for the Indians. So the council had no real powers and were the advisory bodies only. The powers were not given by the Britishers to any of the council members. Only they have been considered as the as advisory body. So Gandhiji insisted congressmen not to participate in this legislative council election or in the general elections. In place of that, we must have to oppose it. Then coming to the most important event, the three important that movement started by Mahatma Gandhi was the first one is non-cooperation, NCM, short form civil disobedience movement, CDM, and finally the Quit India movement. With the Quit India movement, these Britishers, they have left our. So the non-cooperation movement, which started in 1920 and lasted till 1922, it's making and unmaking. Both the things we have to discuss. Under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, the Congress decided to start the non-cooperation movement against the British government. This is now already Gandhiji has declared as the leader of the country. We have seen his situation and how he has gaining his popularity. Success one after another started with the Champaran movement, then Ahmedabad mill workers, then Kheda district peasant movement, and after that the successful hartal or strike which was organized by Gandhiji on 6th April 1919. After that, Gandhiji has been declared as a national leader. Then it comes about that under his leadership, the Congress decided to start non-cooperation movement against the British government. The first of all, support the Khilafat movement to protect the sentiment of the Muslims as the religious hate was disbanded by the Britishers. Then to compel the government to compensate for the atrocities committed by it on the people at Jallianwala Bagh and during the martial law in Punjab. So this is the plan which has been chalked out under the non-cooperation movement. To achieve the goal of Swaraj, the following programs were executed. So what were the programs which have been prepared under the non-cooperation movement? First of all, boycott of the elections under the Government of India Act 1990. Just now in the previous slide we have discussed about that. The opposition of the council elections, not to participate in the general election because Indian leaders were not given any of that the powerful position. They are only that the advisory body to the British government. So request was made by Mahatma Gandhi not to participate in elections. Then boycott of government schools and colleges, boycott of law courts, boycott of foreign goods, surrender of titles and honorary offices, refusal to attend government darbars. So this is all about that, the planning which was done, how to implement, how to launch or how to unfold the movement. Constructive side of the program, which is consisted of establishment of national schools and colleges. First was that, all about that to boycott the British-made institutions and all those things. Now the constructive program, which is for the establishment of national schools and colleges, the use of private attribution courts in the place of government courts for litigation, use of Swadeshi cloth on a large scale, revival of hand spinning and hand weaving, the removal of untouchability. The movement was to be completely non-violent. So this is about that, the constructive side of the non-cooperation movement. Then it comes about that progress of the movement, how the movement got its progress. The movement captured the imagination of the people from the very start. The whole nation rose as one man. One man, here, Gandhiji. Many distinguished lawyers like C.R. Das, Pandit Motilal Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, Lajpat Rai, Vittal Bhai, Vallabhbhai Patel and Dr. Rajendra Prasad gave up their practice to join the movement. Many prominent Muslim leaders like Ali brothers, Dr. Ansari, Dr. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad came forward as non-cooperators. All these leaders, they have started giving their full support to this movement. Many students gave up studying the government schools and colleges. Many national educational institutions like Gujarat Vidyapeeth, Bihar Vidyapeeth, Bengal National University, Jamia Millia of Delhi, the National College of Lahore, etc. were started. All these were with the constructive program of the non-cooperation movement. All these institutions have been started. The Swadeshi clothes became popular. The takla and charkha, this is the charkha, appeared in every home and became the symbol of the movement. Knicker socks and the foreign clothes socks were often picketed. So this way the people, they have started giving their full support and cooperation to this non-cooperation movement. This is the tabular form. It is given over here. All the bullet points are written. Constructive program and boycott program. Constructive, which is encouragement of national schools and institutions, promotion of indigenous goods, popularization of charkha and khadi, prohibition of liquor, boycott of government schools and law courts, boycott of British goods and surrender of honors and titles, non-payment of taxes, boycott of elections to legislature. So this is given in a tabular form, in a bullet points. Then it comes about that why this non-cooperation movement came to a halt or it was suspended. What was the reason behind it? When the movement was in full swing in 1922, there was a strange and unexpected development took place. Gandhiji suddenly decided to call off the campaign. So what was the reason why this the sudden calling off the movement was there? The reason which prompted this action was that an angry mob had attacked and burnt a police station at Chauri Chaura, a village in the Gorakhpur district of UP, in which 22 policemen were, they have burnt alive actually. Gandhiji took a serious view of this incident. He announced that the Indian people were not yet ready to wage a non-violent struggle. This gave a shock to Gandhiji as the entire planning was based on the principles of truth and non-violence. And this movement became violent. So Gandhiji decided to call off the non-cooperation movement. The suspension of non-cooperation movement greatly shocked the younger leaders of the Congress, like Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru. Two examples are quoted in the book. The common people had lost enthusiasm to continue the movement. It gave an opportunity to the Viceroy Lord Reading to strike hard. Now again the Viceroy, he has started giving that repressive measures. He started thinking about that. The government arrested Mahatma Gandhi on 10th March and 22nd and sentenced 1922. This is the year Gandhiji was arrested and sentenced him to 6 years imprisonment on the charge of sedition. He was, however, released from prison in the beginning of the 1924. So, what is the conclusion of this non-cooperation movement? The Khilafat and non-cooperation movement shocked the foundation of the British Empire in India. This was the shocking for the British Empire. The movement which was organized under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi and laid a strong foundation of powerful movement, civil disobedience. Then one more topic is there, is about the Swarajist party. This is also known as the Swaraj party, with the founders were Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, Chittaranjan Das. Pandit Motilal Nehru and Chittaranjan Das were the founder of this Swarajist party. The suspension of the non-cooperation movement by Gandhiji in 1922 was bitterly resented by Congress leaders under the leadership of C.R. Das and Pandit Motilal Nehru. They organized themselves into a new party called Swarajist Party or Swaraj Party. It aimed to capture seats in the legislature to prove their strength with their common people. Now, to prove themselves as an Indian leader, they can win the elections in British India. So, in the elections of the 1923, the Swarajists won a dominant position in the Central Legislative Council. They participated in the elections and they won the elections. The party was successful in getting Rowlatt Act repealed. Under the influence of this party, the government decided to increase the share of the Indian commissioned officers in the army. So this was also the change which has been developed and introduced by the British government in their offices. Due to the effort of the party, some laws were also passed for the welfare of the industrial leaders. Due to the involvement of these people, these leaders in the party, as the holding that the prominent position in the government also has started giving certain privileges to the Indian leaders.